Former Buffalo Bills quarterback Jim Kelly was elected to the Hall of Fame after a spectacular career that included 4 consecutive Super Bowl appearances. But it's how spectacular a person he is that has long won him the hearts of fans. They were with him a decade ago as his young son went through a very public illness before passing away. And they were with him over this past year as Kelly himself battled 2 different forms of cancer. Finally, just a few weeks ago, his family got the news they were waiting for. Kelly's doctors declared him cancer-free. And shortly afterward, he sat down with us. Congratulations. What did it feel like to sit in that doctor's office and hear those words?
Oh, it was without a doubt incredible. Just to tell family that everything came back negative, that there was no signs of cancer from the parts that were radiated. Yeah, it definitely makes you feel good.
Huge. It has been such a special couple months for you. You got to participate in your football camp. You got to go to the Hall of Fame. What was it like slipping that Hall of Fame jacket on again? Did it fit?
No. When I knew I lost 50 pounds, I said, I better try some of my clothes on, because I wear sweats a lot.
That's right.
So I put that jacket on. My brother looks at me and he said, Grady, what's up? I go, what? He said, you look like Grady Wilson from Sanford & Son. Man, that jacket's so big. I started laughing. I go, you gotta be kidding me. I looked in the mirror and I go, oh my goodness. So I had to go get my Hall of Fame jacket taken in.
Your former teammate, Andre Reed, was inducted. And he was great because he used part of his speech, his time up there, to talk about you.
But the toughest individual I've ever met in my life is Jim Kelly, number 12. Jim, you have endured a lot in your life. The loss of a son, and most recently, your battle with cancer. You're an inspiration to all those you touch.
When did that toughness really form for you? When did you realize how tough you really were?
I don't know. Probably growing up in a family of 6 boys. My dad was a boxer, so we would box, and in the garage, he'd put football helmets on us, and we'd beat the heck out of each other. So I got that, and I started doing it with my daughters. And
you didn't put them in a football helmet and box with them, did you?
No.
Okay, just checking.
But when my daughters would fall down and I would see that they're not hurt, I'd say, get up, you'll be all right. I mean, you gotta be tough.
You guys use that expression, Kelly Tough, throughout your treatment. It really became a rallying cry. What do you remember from the moments, the conversations, when you first heard those words, you have cancer, when the doctor first told you?
Well, it was tough on me. I noticed when he came over to start talking to me, he turned around, walked over, and he shut the door. And when he shut the door, I knew that it wasn't going to be good news. I walked out of his doctor's office, and of course, I got in my car, and tears started coming out, because how am I going to tell my daughters? How am I going to tell my wife?
Chemotherapy, 35 radiation treatments. Is that as brutal as it sounds?
When I was going through the first parts of my chemo, my radiation, it was hard. At times there were 6, 7 bags hooked up. Feels good, Molly.
Yeah?
Every 15 minutes I was throwing up. And that was probably the toughest part for my wife, because she saw what I was going through. And there were times where she didn't know if I was going to make it, because I was in bad shape.
How did the experiences you had with your son influence you during your treatment? He had died at the age of 8.
One of the things that probably hurt my wife a little bit when I spoke about, well, maybe the good Lord wants me to see Hunter before you do. And she said, don't ever say that. And I told him that. I said, Hunter, I want to see you, buddy, but I'm not done yet.
What were some of the specific goals that you kept in mind in the hospital in the tougher times?
Just to get through it and to be strong. There were times where, when I was by myself, I wasn't very strong, because when you're by yourself, you start thinking. You're thinking too much. I don't care if I'm a football player, or Kelly Tough, or whatever it is. I needed some support mentally. Where's Gamelo? And then when my family would come, which was most of the time, it would take my mind off of it.
Just in time.
Dan Marino walking through that hospital door must have been quite a sight.
I never in a million years thought that the outcry, the support that I've gotten. I mean, I had people like Burt Reynolds call me, Ric Flair, the wrestler, call me.
And then the day you left the hospital, the amazing group of people who were waiting outside for you, clapping. What was that like?
They were a lot of my friends from Buffalo. And I was probably at the worst part of my physical being, how I felt. I had no energy. I lost 51 pounds. I felt terrible. I was hurting. My face was radiated so bad that it was just completely horrible. But to see their faces and see them cheering and know that they came there for me, I needed that. Thank you, guys.
Now, you were showing off to me before we sat down that you don't have to shave one half of your face anymore. I know they gave you a prosthetic jaw.
Yep.
And that thing pops out, is that right?
Yeah, they pretty much removed my whole upper jaw up into my nasal cavity. Lost 75% of my hearing in my left side. And I have a prosthesis in. And from the radiation, 35 radiation treatments, it pretty much has taken all the hair and everything off the side of my face, and it doesn't grow back anymore.
Do you ever take the jaw out to scare your children or anything?
It's funny you ask that. When I first had my prosthesis put in and my jaw replaced, I told my wife that don't worry, and my kids, I said, don't worry, I will never take it out in front of you. Guess how long it took me to totally?
Half a day.
Pretty close. I say a day, it probably was only half a day. And then I have a little thing where, and I'll never do it on camera, sorry about that, but I take it out and my kids call me JK Swag. Because my personality totally changes. I joke with them. I used to chase them around the room. But I feel good now, except I'm not used to being weak and frail. I lost a lot of my shoulders, my chest, my arms. I hate feeling weak. But I'm slowly getting into the process of building myself back up, and I know it's going to take a long time, but I'm alive still, and that's the main thing.
Amazing story. Now, you heard Kelly say this is all still a process. He is still experiencing some pain, and he's considering having an additional procedure on some of the tissue near his brain. First, though, he's spending some time enjoying his family and his new lease on life.